So I've been a graphic designer for over a decade, and never has there been a time where the creative industry is both worried and excited at the prospect of AI. It seems to have the power to create anything we can think of in a flash when it comes to painting and photography and some cool 3D abstract images. Over the last year or two, I've not really been using AI for anything design related, aside from an odd YouTube thumbnail illustration here and there. I've been using it to help me write better YouTube video titles and to improve my writing. I released a video a few months ago titled "You Will Never Be This Creative." That video received a lot of contrasting opinions in the comments, many arguing that AI is completely negative not only to the design industry but the world as a whole. Others argued that AI was a useful tool to help creative professionals like myself cut the mundane and boring tasks of our creative work, leaving us to do more things and have more time with what we do best, create. A great example of this would be the object selection tool in Photoshop, which saves us so much time when creating selections. If you've asked AI to generate anything graphic design related, you may get some cool textures, interesting layouts and compositions, but you'll find that it sucks. It just can't do what we do, at least for now. You'll see that AI doesn't do well with words yet. It can sort of give an idea of a layout and a composition. It's quite helpful in that way. It can give cool color combos too. As for logo design, yeah, it can be used to generate cool illustrations, which can then be used for logos, but it's not there yet either. There isn't the ability to generate vector output in most of these applications, and it normally has many mistakes that we look over. Mistakes human logo designers can spot quickly. To me, AI is not in the position to replace us yet for either of these tasks. However, that doesn't mean that there aren't questions to be asked ethically, legally, and morally. So my thoughts on the ethics. Right now, there's not many regulations for AI, and I believe there should be. Obviously, we have the normal regulations which have sort of been pushed into legislation recently, but there isn't any regulation really to stop AI becoming a super intelligence, not that we know of anyway. And if you're an artist, one of the biggest problems that you'll face is AI companies using your work as a model for their program. Every generated image in Midjourney has been modeled from someone else's work without their permission. This brings up a lot of questions on the ethics of AI in the creative industry. There are countless stories online of artists finding their names being used in prompts to generate similar styles of art, but they never opted into this. They never gave their express permission. The companies seemingly have taken their work to be used and manipulated without their permission. So does this break or constitute a break in copyright law? I think we'll have to let the courts decide that. However, when we look further into the process, we can see that generative AI diffusion models work similar to humans. I know, weird. Strange take, hot take. It's similar to nearly all creatives where we take inspiration from a style or image and mash our own style and work to create something that seems or gives the illusion of it being unique. Jim Jarmusch said, "Nothing is original. Everything has been created before." If you're an artist, nothing you create is truly original. Someone else has used those colors, composition, and has a similar style. Jim also states it's not where you take things from, it's where you take them to. When looking at AI then, you'll find that it's ultimately similar to the way that we create art. We take inspiration, we add our own spins to the work, and you end up with what looks like a unique piece of original work. Artificial intelligence learns from images, the data set, even from all those artists. We learn as well, and it uses what has been learned to create what looks like something unique. Here's a great quote on an article explaining this. Based on our understanding of AI art, these models are not actually stealing any images or directly using them to create art. They are simply analyzing the images, learning from them, and then taking what they have learned to create something new. Now, I don't know if this is true at all, but it was an interesting article which I'll link down below. This leads me to a new question. Can you own a style? There's a great Reddit post that goes into a lot of detail about this. Here's a cool quote. "Style is not owned by anyone within a creative community, and people asserting ownership over a style is usually laughed at by those within the creative community. AI art generators are merely doing what human artists currently do, but on a superhuman scale. Everyone's style has been created by a human mashup of many factors, which gives the illusion of it being unique and original. We all know when someone has copied work or a style style from a well-known artist or creator. Unless they copy the artist verbatim, there seems to be no problem with that work. So hear me out. If a person took an image from Google, copy-pasted an unmodified part of an existing artwork into a work, then that would be rightly considered as theft. If that person merely used a part of an existing image as inspiration or a model to draw their own version of, that is not considered theft. The way neural networks work is by the latter. Now that was taken from the Reddit post. I would go ahead and read it with an open mind because it's very interesting how other people perceive this. The next question everything leads me to as a graphic designer is replacement. Will we be replaced? This is the $1,000,000 question, and one that is so hard to answer if you can actually answer it. Here are my thoughts. If AI is able to completely replace one key job or industry, it has the potential to replace all jobs and industries. Over the past few hundred years, we've experienced Luddites. They are defined as a member of any of the bands of English workers who destroyed machinery, especially in the cotton and woolen mills, that they believed was threatening their jobs. In fact, when computers became a thing in the graphic design industry, it was scary at the time. Many of the manufacturers had to change their print and design processes because of this. Here's an image of an article of one of the first computers in a design agency changing the game. It's interesting to think that even computers replaced a lot of designers and creative professionals if they didn't use them as part of their new process. We're in the era of neo-Luddites, which is completely understandable. We don't want machines to take over, replace our jobs, and make art, design and music into something that it's not. Humans have passion for creativity. One of the hallmarks of humans is the ability to think outside of the box and solve problems in a creative way. To replace all jobs and industries with artificial intelligence is nerve-wracking. It's scary. What would we do after? I'm sure the Luddites of prior generations had the same feeling when their jobs at the mills were being replaced with machines that could do better in almost every way. The question for replacement is tricky and no one truly knows the answer. All I can say for certain is, despite your beliefs of generative AI, whether it's good or bad, to stay competitive and to be in the industries that we want to be in, we need to see it as a tool that can change the art and design process. Adobe recently announced Adobe Firefly, their own generative intelligence that actually uses only licensed images as its data model. Adobe has thankfully turned the conversation to a more of how can AI help creators create, instead of how can AI just create for us. Photoshop Generative Fill allows you to add and edit images faster, only using licensed images from Adobe. I don't know about you, but this has answered the ethical questions for me. Data models should be opt-in licensed. I don't know whether we're being replaced in the future. I believe we won't be, but we'll just have to find out and just love what we do now. If you found this video valuable, let me know in the comments or by liking and subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.